If you have reached the ripe old age of 30, then those exercises are a definite must for you. Especially the older you are, the more likely it is that if you don't use those exercises, it's gonna become really, really bad in the long run. Hello, welcome back, my favorite movement enthusiasts, to today's session of balancing exercises. The older we get, the more we have to prioritize those things that are gonna keep us healthy and safe in the long run. And when it comes to balance, most people struggle with even just standing on one foot for half a minute. And you can test this out. Just put one foot flat on the ground and try and stand for half a minute to 60 seconds. If you lose your balance, then you definitely know what you have to work on. Now, we already know that as we age, our chances of hip injuries become really, really high. And being able to balance yourself out and catch yourself with reflexes before falling down is the #1 way of avoiding such injuries. 30% of people who injure their hip after the age of 65 and have to have major medical intervention die within the first 12 months. And that is huge. That's a third of every person who has this sort of injury. So today we're gonna check out the most important balance exercises that you can use to keep yourself safe from those problems. If you're ready, let's go and have some fun. Now, by far, one of the best pieces of equipment we can use for balancing exercises is the resistance band. Resistance bands allow us for variable resistance, meaning the longer our range of motion, the more strength we need at the end of the movement, which increases our end range of motion strength and over time will help us increase our balance as well. So we're gonna use the resistance band around our foot. We're gonna stand up tall. We're gonna raise our foot from the ground. And from here, all we wanna do is raise our knee above our hip. And since one of the major functions of our abdominals is balancing out our upper body, we're gonna have a lot of core inclusion with every single one of these exercises. So all I wanna do from here is reverse and pull our knee up. Try and stay fully upright, completely balanced, and you're gonna notice the worse your balance are, the harder it's gonna become to stay up here. You're gonna get pulled forward or backwards. Over time, it's gonna get better. So now that we've worked on our quadriceps as well as our hip flexors in conjunction with our abdominals, we're gonna do the same thing with lateral movements. And now it's gonna become a little bit harder because the more we move with our adductors flexed, crossing over our right leg, the more pull we're gonna have to pull us diagonally down towards the ground. So we wanna stay fully upright and use our abdominals for one of their main functions. Balancing out, open up and reverse. Open up and reverse. Now, one of the major bonuses of these exercises will be not only that we are working our abdominals to an absurd degree, but we're also gonna strengthen all of our leg musculature and all the small stabilization muscles that we have. So now we're gonna cross over to the other side. We're gonna start here, work our adductors, open up, hold for a second or two, and reverse the movement in a controlled manner. You can work explosively and hold. You can work slowly and hold, and I would suggest you do both explosively and slow. We have the hip flexor and forward, we have the adductors inwards, and we have the abductors outwards, also working a lot with our glute musculature. And now we can move to our weighted exercises. We're gonna grab ourselves a kettlebell for ease of use, or we're gonna grab ourselves a dumbbell. We're gonna put it right there in front of our legs, and we're gonna start asymmetrically. The right foot on the ground, the left foot grabs the weight, and from here we're gonna raise up, only one foot on the ground, fully extend, push your hips forward, and slowly reverse again to the ground. Now, if you are missing the flexibility, you might as well bend your knee and go low like this. But over time, we want to extend both our leg as well as our spinal erectors to stay fully extended during the entire movement and slowly reverse again. Now, the next exercise will be working left side with the left side, which is going to require a different kind of balance. And some people will struggle with the first exercise, and some people will struggle with the second exercise. And of course, we're gonna do both sides. Right hand, right foot, and of course, right foot with the left hand as well. Up and down. Which moves us to our next exercise, and one of the most important and most neglected things in general is that people don't really strengthen their foot musculature, which means that most of the exercises that require balance are going to lead to your foot cramping. So we want to strengthen them as well. All we need to do for that is get into a deep squat position. If you can't do that by yourself or you need help, just grab something right here in front of you. And all I want to do from here is move up onto our tiptoes. Now, if you are a little bit weaker in your toes, then this is the extent of raising for you. However, the stronger you become, the more likely it is that you can go up on your real tiptoes. You're gonna hold from here and then slowly reverse the entire movement, flatten your feet on the ground. You're gonna have to flex your calves and your entire foot musculature, hold yourself up here, and slowly reverse once more. The longer your range of motion, the better it is. So going up all the way on our tiptoes. And for those of us who are really flexible and strong in their feet, going all the way down into a negative movement, stretching our Achilles tendon and our calves, which is going to help us with ankle extension and flexion over time. So now we have an even longer range of motion all the way up on your toes, and all the way down, release and repeat. So now, having gotten the easier exercises out of the way, we're gonna start adding some real strength to those exercises, as well as more control requirements. So we're gonna grab ourselves a little bit of a heavier weight this time. We're gonna close our feet and we're gonna work asymmetrically for all of these exercises. This is gonna force us into balancing out. So we're gonna do lunges. Left foot forward diagonally and bring your knee down to the ground, reverse the movement, and then of course we're gonna step with the other side. Now your abdominals have to really focus on balancing your upper body so you don't fall over sideways. Of course we're gonna switch and repeat the same thing once more. Left side, right side. If you want to add an even larger strength aspect to this exercise, then slow it down and walk forward. Long upright movements, knee all the way down to the ground, so you get a little bit of a hip flexor stretch as well, and slow controlled movements. Which moves us to an exercise that requires a lot of balance also, but is going to help us not only strengthen our leg musculature, but also our core musculature in a way that is going to combine with the rest of our posterior chain as well. That's going to be the Bulgarian split squat. Push your hip forward, lengthen your quads, lengthen your hip flexor, and from here we're going to move down. We're not going to touch the ground with our knee. We're going to just extend and a centimeter or two right above the ground, hold and repeat, just so we get that stretch on one side, but we still go lower than parallel with our femur. Now, advancing one step further, we're gonna find ourselves an elevation. Start with a really low one, and the better you get with your balance, the more you can move up to a higher one. We're gonna stand on the very outside corner. We're gonna cross over with one leg, and from here, we're gonna try and go as low as we can. If you can sit down fully, if you can grab your toes, that is absolutely amazing. If you can't, over time, your range of motion should be increasing in this movement. You can take a short break between every single repetition, center yourself, full concentration, and cross over. We're gonna get a nice stretch in our glutes. If you pull in your toes, we're gonna get a nice stretch in our posterior chain in the right leg. And we're gonna have a lot of strength requirements for our quads, as well as our core for stabilization purposes. All the way down, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, You can play with it, you can work explosively, you can work really slowly, and you can find what is the most fun for you and just go on, hammer that in as much as you can. Now, of course, our legs aren't the only parts of our body that require balancing work. In fact, we can work on our upper body balance as well. And there are a lot of beginner-friendly exercises when it comes to upper body balance. Now, I've made a full video about that here. You can check it out and get into it step by step if you want to add some a little bit more advanced upper body balance. If you can incorporate some or even all of those exercises, you will be amazed at how fast you are advancing when it comes to your balance. And if you do any kind of sport like snowboarding or skiing, paddleboarding, freaking canoeing, anything that requires balance, you will be advancing in that sport without working on it directly as well. Maybe do 2 or 3 sets of 12 repetitions per exercise and you will become the absolute balance king. So if you like the video and check out other videos on this channel because we literally have new ones every single day. And I'll see y'all guys tomorrow. Captain Cairo, peace out.